Hello, everyone. It's Charlton, and I want to kind of give you an update on this hostage situation that's taking place right now in southern France in Trèbes. Inside of a supermarket, there's somebody that's claimed allegiance to ISIS. Two people have been killed, several others injured, and according to the Telegraph, they expect, it's very likely fatalities will increase. What's not clear to me is how many, if there's still hostages or not. I mean, I've seen several reports that it's down to just one person, and that's a police officer that's being held hostage inside the supermarket. But again, that's just not real clear. The BBC has the freshest, the most, up-to-date information and seems the most accurate. This is CBS with some live footage here. I mean, I'll keep that playing in the background while I go through.
Thank you very much for bringing us up to speed. We want to take it over to Angela Charleston, Bureau Chief for France, the Benelux nations, and North Africa. She's on the phone with us now. Before, I just want to sort of clarify a little bit. This is unfolding. This whole situation is unfolding. So we're getting reports from a number of different sources, and not all of it is verified. And we knew that he was negotiating with police officers inside the supermarket, that he is making demands. The news that
Angela Charlton
of Salah Abdeslam is unverified, but we are getting it from a number of different sources, but we have yet to confirm that. So, Angela, what can you tell us?
Well, as you say, the situation is ongoing. We know that at least 2 people were killed and about a dozen others have been wounded. The assailant first attacked some police who were out jogging and then got in his car and drove to a supermarket in a nearby town where he went in and took an unknown number of people hostage. Inside the supermarket is where he killed at least 2 people. It is not clear how many people are still inside that supermarket. As you say, these negotiations are underway, and there are reports that he is seeking the release of the lone surviving Paris attacker. There are also unconfirmed reports about his identity, that he was someone who is in his 30s, of Moroccan nationality, and had been known to police for various things. But a lot is uncertain right now, as you say, and because he's still inside, there are things that they're still trying to determine.
Angela, one of the things we've been talking about, because the information is still coming into us as we try to report the story out, as you as well, are some of the issues that have faced France and the countries within Europe.
All right, so let me go to the BBC, because it is reported he's 30 years old, of Moroccan descent, and that he's demanding the release of this individual, who was the lone survivor of the attack in Paris in 2015, where they had multiple attacks simultaneously, like the one in the soccer stadium and at the bar, and killed 130 different people. It was like this, very sophisticated attack. He was the only one that I believe survived, managed to get out of France and escape to Belgium, Brussels in Belgium, and was later captured. I can't even remember days later. And to be honest with you, I don't know what's happened to his trial and so forth. But that's who he's demanding the release of, supposedly, when he's holed up inside. But it's not clear if how many hostages are still he has, in there, or if at all. I've seen reports of one police officer was still remaining was in there, and it was the sole hostage. But that's not real clear, So let me go to the BBC real quickly. It says Gunman have killed 2 people during a hostage taking at a supermarket. He shot at like 5 police officers who were jogging in a neighboring town that's like 15 minutes away from where this supermarket is. Then he got in his car, like she was saying, and drove to the supermarket and took things up there. Why is anybody's best guess? And they're talking about France's situation and stuff like that in the background, so I'm just going to continue to talk over it. Reports say the gunman who remains in the supermarket pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group. Earlier, a policeman was shot and wounded while jogging with colleagues in Carcassonne. Carcassonne, which is the town neighboring. It's a small town of like 500 people, 15 minutes away. So I mean, he had to drive to the supermarket. He was shot in the shoulder by the same suspect involved in the supermarket hostage taking, but was not critically injured. The suspect is said to be heavily armed and asking for the release of Salah Abdeslam. That's who this is. And that's that. I mean, I recognize that face. He's the sole survivor of that 2015 attack in Paris that killed 130 people. It was simultaneous attacks throughout the city. And when they say heavily armed here in USA Today, it said he had grenades. The gunman, estimated to be about 30 years old and holding grenades, began firing and spoke of avenging Syria. That's USA Today. This is such a beautiful, remarkable city. To them, it might as well be a foreign country. That's how even though they're just a few miles away from reports say the suspect is known to French intelligence. Let me back up. The suspect is said to be heavily armed and asking for the release of Salah Abdeslam, the most important surviving suspect in the November 2015 Paris attacks, which killed 130 people. A security source told French News that most employees and customers at the supermarket managed to flee. The report I saw of the two people that were killed was one was a customer and one was a worker for the supermarket. Prime Minister Edouard Philippe said the situation was serious and that all signs pointed towards a terrorist act. Hundreds of police officers have been deployed to the area. Counter-terrorism prosecutors are leading the investigation. And France has been hit with several deadly jihadist attacks since 2015 and has been on high alert. A state of emergency put in place after 2015 attacks in Paris was lifted in October. In February, Salah Abdeslam went on trial in Belgium over a shootout in Brussels that led to his capture months after the Paris attacks. He is not expected to go on trial in France until 2020 at the earliest.
The police and in particular the gendarmerie intervene in a very coordinated manner after what was first an attack against police officers. Please allow me to express our utmost support to all of those addressing the situation. At this point in time, I will not provide any figures. The Paris public prosecutor will shortly provide the relevant information. He already referred the matter to the DGSI and to the STAT, as well as the terror investigating magistrates. They are on their way as we speak. Please allow me to express the utmost support of the French government and authorities, and in particular our support to the police forces which are currently on the ground. I just spoke to the Minister of the Interior, who is arriving on the spot, and the Prime Minister is back in Paris. And I myself will be back there in a couple of hours in order to coordinate all the necessary measures to be taken. Over the past 2 days, we've attended a European Council meeting, and I'm very pleased that once again we can host this joint conference together.
Let me continue. I guess he's the president of France. I think I said he was the prime minister. I don't know the exact political structure of France. But the Telegraph had a fair amount of good details there as well. Let me quickly review that before I wrap this up. But the hostage, it's still ongoing. He's still in there, and 2 dead, several others injured. Gunman takes hostage at supermarket in Trèbes, France. At least 2 people killed, dozen more wounded. Attacker reported to be Moroccan national in his 30s. Shouted Allahu Akbar and said he supported ISIL. He's said to have demanded the release of a Paris attack suspect. Shortly before, police officers shot in nearby Carcassonne. Gunman shot driver in the head, then stole car to get to store. That's not. I didn't know that, and I don't know that I don't know if these things are confirmed or what. I don't know if that's one of the 2 that are dead, French Prime Minister, we believe this is a terrorist act.
President essentially saying what we already know, not giving too many more details, that there's been this terrorist attack that's happened in the town of Trebes, which is in southeastern France, not far from Paris, which is
what a mess.
City, major medieval city in France.
These two people have been killed after a gunman claiming allegiance to Islamic State. Supermarket in France following the shooting of a police officer. Elite police surrounded the store in the town. The hostage taker, said to be a Moroccan national. Authorities known to intelligence services reportedly shouted Allahu Akbar. Police confirmed at least 2 people have been killed, thought to be a shop worker and a customer. That's why the driver shot in the head. That conflicts that to me. A dozen more injured. And that's what it says. Gunman shot driver in head, then stole car to get to store. There's going to be more fatalities. It's very likely. This is bad.
He has shown resolve up to now on security measures. He did introduce a tough new terrorism law last year that effectively enshrines
a lot of that's just background. So, according to French media, the supermarket hostage taker claimed he was inspired by the Islamic State. Let me back up. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I keep messing this up. Shortly beforehand, a police officer jogging with colleagues in the city of Carcassonne, around 15-minute drive from Trebes, was shot and injured. Local media reports that the 2 incidents are linked. The man entered the supermarket at around 11:15 a.m. French time. It's France time. It's now 2:30 p.m. So it started about 3 hours ago.
So now we want to bring in CBSN contributor Willis Sparks. He writes for Signal, a newsletter produced by G0 Media. So
shots were heard. A French security source said he's said to have been armed with a gun, knives, and a hand grenade. We unfortunately presume one person has been killed, but we cannot bring a doctor on site to check.
Few job prospects, limited education.
And that's where we are, man. It's ongoing. All right, they're now reporting that the gunman has been killed.
Today, a man approached a pair of police officers who were out for a jog. He shot at them, wounding one police officer, then drove to a supermarket, held some of the people inside there hostage for a period of time. The hostages were released, and then he had barricaded himself inside the supermarket with a police officer in there as well. Some negotiations, it's been reported, we have not confirmed that, some negotiations were ongoing. There are reports that he was asking for at least one terrorist who is in jail in Belgium to be released. And it looks like now there's been a raid, and this person has been killed. There are also reports that another individual has been killed in a nearby town. The feeling is that all 3 of the shootings are connected.
So, in addition to the BBC just reporting that, we can also say that the AP, the Associated Press, is reporting that the suspect has been shot and killed by police officers. So, let's bring back Willis Sparks. He's joining us here. He's on set. He writes for Signal, a newsletter produced by G0 Media.
So let me try to summarize here. I believe a police officer took the place of one of the hostages or hostage, and then there was a raid and taking the gunman down. There's 2 that were confirmed dead, I think, at the supermarket.
All of us said, "Oh yeah, that makes a little bit more sense." Believe it or not, a distance of 5 years is a vast difference between somebody who's 30
and so there's also the possibility of a third death at the first town where he shot at the police officer in the shoulder that were jogging, and then maybe shot somebody else in the head and took their car. But now it's been confirmed that the gunman has been killed. He's been taken down. They raided the supermarket, and it's not sure if others have been killed. It's 2, 3, or more, dozens wounded, and that's the story there. All right, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel, give me a like down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.